Jimin and Jungkook returned to the limelight after a brief moment on a live broadcast sparked an explosion of conversation on social media. No one expected that with just one simple sentence, the two BTS members were able to make the army around the world uproar, moved, and curious at the same time. It all started with a live broadcast that initially looked ordinary. Jungkook was casually interacting with fans, reading comments, and answering questions as he often does. However, the mood changed drastically when Jimin suddenly appeared on the screen, smiling faintly as if harboring something that only the two of them understood. Jimin's appearance was actually not too long, maybe just a few minutes, but enough to steal the attention. ARMY immediately flooded the comments with questions, "What's going on?" and "Why is Jimin suddenly there?" Jungkook, who initially seemed relaxed, suddenly lowered his head and smiled broadly, giving the impression of someone who was trying to hold back something he wanted to express. Then, without warning, Jimin uttered one sentence that immediately sparked a wave of speculation, "You know, I'm always here." It was only 7 words, but the live atmosphere changed instantly. Jungkook paused for a moment, looked at Jimin, then smiled with an expression that was hard to describe, a mixture of warmth, emotion, and a little awkwardness. The sentence immediately became trending on X, Twitter, and other social media platforms, with the hashtags #AkuSelolodicini and #JiminForJungkook topping trending lists in various countries. Many interpreted Jimin's remarks as a form of unconditional support for Jungkook, something that meant a lot in the midst of the rush, pressure, and tremendous public attention towards them. Fans began sharing snippets of the video, slowing down the movement, and dissecting each of the two's gazes and gestures. Some say Jungkook's look when he heard the sentence was not just an ordinary response, but a form of security that can only arise from someone who really understands him. Even some Korean entertainment media also covered this incident, highlighting how strong the friendship and chemistry between the two BTS members are. One columnist wrote that the fleeting interaction reminds us that sometimes, the most genuine human relationships are seen in the simplest of moments. Meanwhile, the ARMY flooded social media with personal stories about how the one-liners gave them strength, especially for those who felt they were fighting alone. What makes this moment even more special is the context. Before the live, Jungkook was known to be facing a busy schedule that was quite tiring. Some fans noticed that he looked more reserved on some occasions. Therefore, Jimin's appearance and his words of support were considered the perfect timing, as if he had come just to make sure his best friend did not feel alone. This reminds many people of various past moments, when Jimin also often showed similar support for Jungkook, both in front of the camera and secretly behind the scenes. Not a few also feel that this moment is a clear proof of the strong emotional bond between the two. They are not only colleagues or group members, but also friends who understand and complement each other. Longtime BTS fans even linked this moment to events in the past, such as when Jimin secretly came to Jungkook's training site to encourage, or when Jungkook gave Jimin sincere compliments in an interview. All the pieces of the story seem to form a long narrative about friendship that has stood the test of time. As the live video continued to spread, many international fanbase accounts translated the moment into various languages, making it even more viral. In less than 24 hours, the video was viewed millions of times on various platforms. Some fans made video edits that blended the moment with BTS' emotional songs, adding slow-motion effects and close-ups of their faces to emphasize the warm feel. Not infrequently, the comments that come in are full of crying and heart emojis, a sign that the moment really touched many people's hearts. Although only a brief interaction, this moment once again proves the strength of the relationship between BTS members who are often an inspiration to fans. In the stressful world of entertainment, this kind of friendship feels rare and valuable. Jimin, with simple but meaningful sentences, manages to send the message that sometimes we don't need many words to show care. And Jungkook, with his warm look and smile, showed how deeply those words meant to him. Now, even though the live has ended, the impact is still felt. ARMY keeps talking about it, creating fan art, writing stories, even making it an inspiration to send messages of support to those closest to them. This moment has gone beyond a mere interaction between two idols, becoming a reminder that the presence of someone sincere can change everything. One short sentence, one meaningful look, and one unwavering relationship, That's what made Jimin and Jungkook become the world's hot topic again, proving once again that BTS is not just about music, but also about connected hearts. Interestingly, the effect of Jimin's one short sentence doesn't just stop at BTS fans. A number of influencers, writers and even motivators on social media also discussed the moment as a clear example of what emotional support means. Several well-known accounts on Instagram and TikTok uploaded pieces of the video accompanied by long captions that discussed how valuable the presence of someone who is always there, without having to be asked, without conditions, and without expecting anything in return. The comments on the posts are full of personal stories of people who feel connected to Jimin's message. There are those who tell stories about friends who always come when they are at their lowest point. There are those who remember the family who always gave support without many words. The emotional impact was further felt because of the timing of the moment, which came amid a lot of news about mental stress in the entertainment industry. Not a few fans admitted that they were feeling tired, anxious, or even lonely, and the phrase, "I'm always here," from Jimin felt like a warm hug that penetrated the phone screen. There were also fans who wrote on X that the moment made them cry because it reminded them of someone who was there for them in difficult times. In the ARMY community, there is a trend where they send each other simple messages containing, "I'm always here," to their fanbase friends, as if to forward the positive message started by Jimin. Interestingly, Jungkook's reaction at that time was also a separate discussion. Fans who pay attention to the details of his expression say that he looks like someone who feels understood without having to explain anything. His brief look at Jimin, then the smile that slowly appeared on his face, became visual evidence of the depth of their relationship. For ARMY, who has been following BTS's journey since the beginning, the expression is not new, but this time it feels much more touching because of its simple but meaningful context. Korean media then started running articles with titles describing the emotional intimacy between the two, such as, "Jimin said the one sentence that made Jungkook smile again," or, "Friendship is unshakable in the middle of the world spotlight." Some psychologists interviewed by entertainment media assess that the moment is a perfect example of emotional validation, making someone feel heard, understood, and not alone. Even if the sentence is short, the effect can be much greater than a support spoken at length but without depth of sense. Not stopping there, some brands that have worked with BTS even took advantage of this moment subtly on their social media. There are clothing brands that post photos of their latest collections with the caption, "I'm always here for you," while including a purple heart emoji, obviously as a reference to Jimin and Jungkook's moment. Fan reaction was immediately positive, flooding the post with enthusiastic comments, although some were aware that it was a marketing strategy. This shows how strong the emotional appeal created by that brief moment. On the other hand, some senior fans began to archive the moment into a compilation of Jimin and Jungkook's interactions that they kept for a long time. They compared the footage to previous moments, such as when Jimin was quietly present backstage when Jungkook was nervous before performing, or when Jungkook gave a proud compliment to Jimin after his stage performance. They were then reshared on platforms such as YouTube and TikTok, with emotional titles such as, "He was always there," Jimin's support journey for Jungkook, reaching hundreds of thousands of viewers within hours.